Thank you. Right now, we have our Eid festival in Bangladesh, and the Muslim community, they sacrifice animal and so on in Bangladesh for purifying their Islamic activities and so on. And beside that, I told you one of the bull. Its name is Donald Trump. It become very popular, so our government decide not to sacrifice this bull, and they took it to the zoo. And right now this Trump, this bull in the zoo. Second important things right now, because of this artificial intelligence, because of these immigration issues, and this war and this tariff, economically Bangladesh has a massive challenge. And in these challenging situations, definitely government making some good policy and plan to implement in Bangladesh. Fourth strategic issues I want to share about South Asia. As if you see the global arena, there are a lot of challenges in between this Russia and Ukraine war in European region. The same way the Middle East has challenge and tension. On the other hand, I want to say the South Asia, we are right now the peaceful compared to other region. So South Asia and Asia Pacific become the regional peace hub day by day. And I believe that all of the global and Western investors and the business organizations, they can come and they can invest in this region. So, and they can make a peaceful and meaningful business collaborations and partnerships country like Bangladesh. So that is the things we are right now looking for. And most importantly, through this process, we can enhance the capacity both in Western world and for this emerging economy. So this is high time how we take this global war and things, and how we solve these things, how we can focus on the global peace. And most importantly, we need to go for global trade and commerce. So that is the way we are focusing, and we are enhancing our exhibition and so on.
So
Thank
I
you.
just looked it up while you were talking, and you have a similar problem. The U.S. and Bangladesh have a similar problem, which is underemployed youth, college graduates unable to find employment in their fields. With it says you guys have uh, over 29% of Bangladesh's unemployed youth have university degrees. And ditto, I don't know what the stats are for the U.S., but that was the promise of a college education for 80 years in the U.S. You get a college degree, you get a well-paying job. Now with AI, that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah, no, this is very important thing. That is the area, World Talent Economic and World Talent Economic Forum. We are employed our youth. We are creating opportunity for the youth through the startup ecosystem, through venture capital, through global fund, as well as we are creating more job opportunity for the people. But one thing which is very important, I'm very impressed by the youth community, like what we call Gen Z. Gen Z is very dynamic. Gen Z is very productive and they love to take challenge. And many of them, they are developing startup and startup ecosystem and so on. So I believe that if these US venture capitals and US in investment market, they do focus on this emerging economy youth, they can raise or bring maximum financial benefit for their financial organizations. So that's the way we can focus on this emerging market. And secondly, which is very important, I want to say, even some point Nick Palveda and all of the Pot TV guests, they always love to discuss about the new education system. It is true that we have to create the new education system for these people. We have to create the new opportunity for these people, and new education systems and new innovation is very important, and we should welcome all of the global south and global north in our system to enhance the capacity of the youth. That is very, very important, and this is important for global peace.
Yeah, Dr. Sharif, is there a lot of unemployment in Bangladesh for college students that
Yeah, we just
graduating?
talked about that.
Yeah,
29%. Yeah.
What's the percentage?
Of all the unemployed youth in Bangladesh, 29% have college degrees.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Boy, that's because we've been hiring a lot of people right out of college to train them rather than go into the job market to hire them. And I was going, one problem that we have is that when we train them, we're always worried about that they leave. In other words, they go because we give them a lot of skills to make a lot of money, and the skills are transferable to another corporation. So I'm wondering if I was wondering, is there ways that you can stop people from leaving? And I don't see any way that you can do that except
Yeah, Nick, I got another question for you, not about that, but just about law and everything like that. So, will Kenyans have a right to protest what's going on? Because apparently the U.S. is planning an Ebola quarantine facility for Americans in Kenya. So, I'm wondering if they'll be able to do this and have a legal ground to stand on. Because according to Kenya, is blocking the U.S. plan to quarantine Ebola patients and everything like that. So, the U.S. is planning an Ebola quarantine facility for the Americans that have chosen to go to Kenya. And Kenya is very much a pauper African country and has a lot of resources that a lot of Western countries want, and all along those lines. But it looks like Americans who get Ebola will go to Europe for treatment, not U.S. is what officials are saying as well. But it does look like they're going to build a facility in that.
really. Okay. I mean, that could be a problem for them. I mean, it's a problem when you travel to other countries. First of all, you have to respect the laws of the other countries. And then the other problem is you have to be very careful what sort of diseases that they have that you may not have immunity or a vaccine to, and on not our channel, but we broadcast on LinkedIn. There are a lot of anti-vaxxers on LinkedIn. I don't know if you ever saw them. They're nuts. Okay, because the problem is if you travel and you go to certain countries that have certain diseases that you're not immune to and you don't have a vaccine for, you catch it and you die. That's what happened to the Native Americans when the Europeans came over. Everybody said, well, the Americans and the Europeans slaughtered them. No, they didn't. They gave them diseases. And they had no immunity. And so what happened is a lot of Native Americans died because of that. Now, the anti-vaxxers would have a field day. They go, oh, just don't take the vaccine. Your natural body will protect you. No, it won't. It wiped out 90% of the Native Americans. It will not protect you. And so the anti-vaxxers that are on LinkedIn, and there's a lot of them, the McFraud Foundation is one of them. There's a guy named Dr. Malone, who's another one. And then there's this Physicians for Informed Consent. These organizations all tell you, oh, don't, vaccines are horrible for you, and they're not. So before I would go to Bangladesh, I'd check out the things the diseases that I might catch because I don't have a vaccine for, I don't have immunity for it. I don't have, I need to take a vaccine for it. I mean, that's just the way it is. I just found out in Great Britain, Rick, I didn't know this. I need a visa to go to Great Britain.
Yeah, that's new. That's fairly new.
Oh, really? It's called an ETA. I always thought, I can show my passport.
It's simple. It doesn't cost very much money. I think
it's 20 euros. It used to be 10 euros. Now it's like $20. Okay, it used to be $10. But the thing is, for those people who are listening or planning to go to Great Britain or the United Kingdom, you are going to need a visa. And it takes usually about 3 days to get it. And you can do it electronically, but you can't do like I used to do. Now this goes back almost 40 years. I just showed my passport and I went to Great Britain. That was it.
Yeah.
But today that's not the case. You have to.
Well, Britain used to be part of the EU, and it used to be very easy. And they got propagandized into leaving the EU, and now everything's tougher.
Yeah, as I travel through the EU, all I need is my passport. So
things that are for real and everything like that. I do have a question for you, Rick, because it looks like there is some new results about the California race. So polls show Becerra opening the lead in the California governor's race. Hilton and Steyer are in tight contest for second spot. And then on the other side, Spencer Pratt's campaign for LA mayor, it seems like it's going really well and everything. So he was a mayoral candidate, but now he's become a surprise test for the Democrats. So what's your take on this?
Pratt is at 22%. Trailing Bass, who's at 30%. So
Is Bass really going to win? I mean,
probably nobody likes the job Bass has done, but reasonable people are like, well, you don't fix the LA's problems by electing a reality show idiot. So
not
Speaking of
really.
reality shows, there's another piece that Vance just said.
Competition's a reality show. And see, California, whether you like it or not, is very important because it is the fourth largest economy in the world. I mean, people don't realize how big it is. We do a lot of business in California. Just got a case in. I'm going like, California is just a huge economy in and of itself. It's like a big financial engine.
Well, speaking
So,
of big engines, Nick, the Air Force Academy graduation wrapped up with a flyover, no air show, but Pope J.D. Vance invoked Pope Leo on AI and warfare, and he said the military should never let AI make life and death decisions. So apparently he's saying that AI doesn't need to be in the military landscape and everything like that.
did Hegseth say that, or did the
did
Pope
Hegseth say that?
Yeah, that's what that shit says.
Because
I mean,
Hegseth
Vance, J.D. Vance.
Oh, well, don't listen to
Vance,
him either.
because
Okay,
Hegseth
here's-
has tried to hire AI technology. He
Here-
tried to
here's-
use
here's-
Anthropic to make military decisions, and
Yeah, but
Anthropic.
J.D. Vance is going against this.
Yeah, okay, well, that's different than Hegseth.
Yeah, the reality is AI is here to stay. Okay, it's like saying, "Oh, I'm not going to use computers and email." Really? Okay, yeah, you are. You're going to use computers and you're going to use email, no matter what business you're in. And AI is basically an accelerated computer program. You can see that when Ken Jennings and Brad Rutter were doing the Jeopardy, and IBM introduced a
Lots.
language. Yeah, did you? I don't know if you saw that program. Right?
Yeah, and it was
But,
pretty clunky. I mean, it
was clunky. Yeah, you're right. But
that was 20 years ago. Now it's
that's 20
not.
years ago. But it was showing the beginning of what's happening is that whether we like it or not, computers are getting more sophisticated. They're able to. Their language is getting better. Everything's getting better, and people are going to be using AI even in the legal practice. They use it. The old lawyers are resisting it, and the courts say don't rely on just AI to draft your briefs. And that I agree, because some of the briefs that go in just by AI are incorrect. I was doing some research today, and if I just use AI, I'd be way off base. You needed a human to make sure you guided
human
AI to the right
checkpoints.
place.
Yeah, but
Pardon?
especially in military applications, I talk to
Yeah.
AI every couple of months, and every time
Oh, really?
I'm surprised how much better it's gotten in just a couple of months.
Oh, I use it. I use it every day. In other words, I have to do research, and it's much quicker than what we used to do is thumb through these books looking for, different cases and stuff. Right now, AI is boom.
Yeah, I mean,
you're there.
I ask AI questions every day. I just go on Google, type
Right.
something in, gives me an answer. But as far as talking with it, having a conversation,
I don't have conversations with it.
it's crazy how sophisticated it is now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, what do you say, Dr. Sharif? I guess you
Yeah.
guys are going to be using that.
This is very interesting discussion. Everybody around the world, they are just discussing about AI and AI activities and so on. According to my understanding, Rick is one of the smartest men in this planet, and he also use AI. This is very interesting for me. But one thing I just want to add: the more you use AI, your intellectual ability will go down. If you use this book, definitely your intellectual abilities and other things go
Yeah.
up, and you can make more contributions. AI actually produce lot of information. Even you use chat gpts and like Google AI and everything, not all of the information is true. Not all of the information has some sort of logical applications and so on. It's just have the ability to produce these things very fast does not mean you are doing these things. I'm very much worried, like the more people and the youth peoples they use the AI, they will lose their intellectual ability, they will lose their research ability, they may lose their thinking abilities in a critical component. For that issues, I'm running this wisdom affairs, I'm running these intellectual activities, I am running these reading books habits, even if it's very traditional. The world has very challenging things because of social media, yes, there are many good media like Pot TV. They are doing excellent job with these things. Now people are divided. Even in Bangladesh, everybody just fighting and they are taking videos and send it to this social media. The same way, I'm very, very worried about this intellectual abilities and so on. Even in the war in between Iran and US, we see that how Iran is a small country and so on, but they make a better strategic decisions for this war. On the other hand, USA has lot of failures in this war and other things. So I propose this wisdom practice, wisdom affairs, which is the core. We should control AI. We should contribute through our innovative idea for this complex problem, and definitely in some point we should limit AI and AI capacity, and we need to create better policy for AI. And I'm worried when Rick said I regularly use AI. I'm really, really worried. Lot of like ChatGPT information actually wrong. So the wrong information you are producing and you are sharing with you, let's say this 29% college graduate are unemployed. This is not true. I think Rick get it from AI. This is
Yeah.
18% something.
No,
So that's
I didn't say that. I said of the people, of the youth who are unemployed,
and we are
27%.
actually, I just want to finish. We are actually creating more like less intellectual abilities and qualified people for our communities. Nick, do not focus on AI. Better read book regularly. It will give you more brainstorming. You are intellectually very sharp. Do not lose your ability with AI. Thank you.
Oh, don't worry about that, because you know what happened in the world of chess, which I swim in, that what they thought was because the chess programs can beat humans today, that people would quit playing. And that's not what happened. What happens is more people play now. They've got like 600 million people in the world, and they use AI, they use the computer chess programs to improve their game. So I think what you're going to see is people working aside with AI to improve whatever skills that they're working in. In other words, it's a tool that they're going to use to help them. It's not going to put people out of a job. I think that's fear mongering. It's not going to take over the world. That's not going to happen. But what it is, it's a tool like an automobile. The automobile made a big difference in the world, and I think AI is going to make a big difference. I also think the fear mongering is wrong. They go, well, it's going to put people out of job. I have seen people put out of jobs because of AI incorrectly. Because what happens is then you get on and you try to call somebody to solve a problem. First thing you do is you get a computer talking to you who doesn't understand anything, especially to your particular problem. Then you ask to talk to a human, and they won't let you talk to a human. So it's an excuse for big companies to fire their service staff. And a lot of them have. They just fire their service. So what I've seen in the United States and perhaps around the world, the service industry is grinding down to a halt. In other words, if you go to a major company and you want to get something done, they will not help you. They'll send you to a computer program, will put you in an endless loop. And they're doing it for one reason. They just don't want to pay people.
And also because they can, because people expect now to get the runaround from and not talk to a person.
But I think there's going to be new opportunities out there in the corporate world to advertise. You will not be talking to an AI. Our service is a human, because frankly, humans are better at servicing humans than a bloody AI.
Oh,
Period.
I want to add to that, because Burger King decided to build a complete robot AI store, restaurant basically, but not only ran by humans who would stock it, and they would be 3 supervisors. And they built it on 70 in Durham, where there's a Bojangles and a McDonald's and then the Burger King. And I don't know what happened to that store. It might have caught on fire, but they decided, okay, we're going to make this completely automated and AI. And they opened up in January. It took them a while to build it. And they opened up in January. And, I read a story. It was like I just opened up the newspaper for some strange reason. I was reading the newspaper. I didn't even know they existed. And in the article, it was, the new Burger King that just opened up realized that AI cannot take orders very well. And they are now hiring real people to replace them. I'm beginning to think they probably can't cook the hamburgers very well either. But it was literally in the article. They're going to have to replace AI with real humans in order to take orders. Now, I know that a lot of the orders in McDonald's and stuff like that are done at kiosk, which I literally hate. I despise the kiosk ordering machine. I'd just rather walk up to the person, say, this is what I want. They ring it up and we're done. I do not like going through, hitting a button, then it asking me 15 questions and hitting yes, no, yes, no. No, this is what I want. Make it happen. That's it. So Burger King realized and learned the hard lesson after spending, a couple $100 million on this new fancy restaurant, that AI is not all that it's meant to be to replace humans.
Hey, Kim, you mentioned data centers yesterday, and it looks like voters have rejected this idea of data centers because amid data center protests, the Washington Post says a billionaire in the Trump administration are claiming that it's a foreign plot. So the world's largest data center was supposed to run on 100% natural gas. Utah's Republican governor is saying never, and I know that Denise got some ties.
Yeah, and the danger that it runs towards the water, and if you're in any kind of watershed vicinity, which I think majority of the United States should be, a protected watershed of some kind, because we've utilized all of the good sources and have destroyed so many. But Aaron Brockovich is actually getting involved now because the dangers that data centers have towards water. So don't drink the water in a town where there's a big data center. Don't. Because you don't understand that your drinking water comes from the aqua filter system. And this dangerous byproduct that it exudes doesn't just go into a big pond or a contained pond. It absorbs into the ground. It absorbs into the environment and into the trees. I mean, they even tell you, do not drink the water from a AC system that comes out of the dehumidifier part. Do not recycle it back into plants that you eat food. Do not recycle that water. It's water from your air, and we're breathing that air. But they know that it's so contaminated that it absorbs into the food when you water your food sources with the recycled water from AC. So be very careful what you're doing. The data centers are very dangerous. They require a lot of utility services. They require. Hi, Dr. Sharif. What is your thoughts on the data centers?
Look, what you are discussing. This is a very good point, especially when you're discussing about the data center need source of water. Definitely, country like Bangladesh, we have a challenges with water right now because of this climate change. Secondly, you are discussing very important point about energy. We also have challenges for energy, even though many of the Western world corporations, they are deploying data center and so on. But I think you are absolutely correct that we should careful. First, we should develop our own ecosystem for energy and water, and then we should think about this AI data center and so on. So that's why that I'm heavily promoting this wisdom. Let's say Kimberly has wisdom and everyone has wisdom. We should nurture our own ecosystem, natural ecosystem, right? Man and woman, not only man, woman. Even I encourage many Bangladeshi women how they can enhance the capacity, how they go for social entrepreneurships, how they economically can make solvent for their family and so on. So this is actually excellent comment, Kimberly, you are making for today's session. Thank you.
I'll tell you what, when the people who are voting on these data centers have drank gallons and gallons of water that is bottled from these data centers, we just bottle the water and send it to them. And when they have drank, 30 days worth, then they can make a vote. That's how I believe that this vote should be done, that they're going to have to drink from the environment that they are voting and supporting on.
So water from data centers doesn't necessarily get contaminated by the data center. But what you're basically doing is you're using the water to cool all the servers that are running these calculations. And the trouble is, if you're just pulling water from your water table that has a little bit of stuff in it, when you evaporate it, the water left behind is concentrated with whatever gunk was already in there. So, but there are ways to deal with it. You just have to, I mean, we purify water all the time. And some people have suggested, if you've got a data center, use it to make it a hot spring. Use it, like put a spa next to the frickin', I don't know if this would work. It sounds goofy, but you've got all this hot water coming out of the data center. So why not use it to make hot baths for people to hang out in?
But put a definite filtration and purification system on it, that because your body absorbs the contaminations and toxins. So don't just allow them, if you're going to be doing that, put a filtration system on the exchange that is releasing the water. And a lot of times they have systems now that have a paddle system in them. And I know because I've just been researching this, not because of the data centers, but because of something I want to do at home. And they have a paddle system that recycles the water and causes it to evaporate and maybe be recycled and reused in a cooling system. I mean, there are so many ways to recycle and reuse what your exhaust system is doing. And so that, nobody sits down and thinks this out, or they know it exists and alternatives exist, but they don't exercise on them because it might cost too much money. Kind of like the rocket that just exploded. I mean, come on, people. We've been sending men to the moon since 1969 when the rockets didn't explode. Now they explode on a daily basis.
Well,
are we practicing new A-bombs, or are we?
That's Musk. Plenty of rockets exploded under NASA, but under Musk
and Bezos.
Musk is like kind of has a learn by explosion system. Like,
but look at Bezos.
Wait a minute. His stock is supposed to go public on June the 11th.
Yeah,
SpaceX.
But did you see?
Is this going to be an explosive IPO?
I don't know, but did you see what exploded last night? It looked like an A-bomb. I watched it. It looked like an A-bomb. It was down in Florida. It was Bezos' rocket. They had denied launching it a week ago because of problems. Fortunately, nobody was on board. They were just running tests. It exploded like an A-bomb. It literally looks like an A-bomb explosion. It is, people were saying it was orange, phenomenal looking, but I can't believe that we can't replicate the rockets that we sent to the moon many years ago that never blew up. But Bezos rockets.
Plenty of those things on the way to the moon, plenty of rockets blew up. One of them blew up, Apollo 13 blew up halfway to the moon.
Right. But what are we doing that we can't send a rocket to the moon without explosions now?
Well,
I mean, that's serious poor engineering.
Musk throws rockets together, and his idea is to just try it a bunch of times and learn from every time one of them blows up.
Yeah, and who's the experiment mice?
So
the thing is that Richard Branson, his may have he will deny a launch if there's any question or any doubt. Take a look at Branson's rockets versus Elon's and versus Bezos. So Blue Origins versus Bezos.
Virgin.
Blue Virgin versus Blue Origins. I don't know why they're both blue. And then you have X. And if you look at Richard Branson's, you will notice that he doesn't have the fatality rate that the rest of them have on the rockets. And it's because several reasons. One, he has his own 3D printer for metal, and they literally 3D and build their own metal parts that they need in the engines. And they're very meticulous. Richard Branson, he just doesn't want to shoot people off in space and kill them. And I don't think Elon has a problem with it, nor do I think does Jeff.
Elon hasn't killed anybody.
Not yet.
No, but his rockets, when they
almost, but not yet.
All right. Well, I want to go back to AI. So I looked up some stats on AI. So AI gets more efficient. The one way to reduce the heat pollution out of AI data centers is to make computing more efficient, which is happening. And they can make calculation more efficient. Also, they can make AI calculation more focused. There's been this big push for advanced general intelligence from the billionaire tech bros, which is just throw as much data into an AI as possible to see if you accidentally get AI that's a genius. And this creates a ton of waste calculations. If you use targeted AI for specific tasks, the compute is much smaller and it's much less polluting. And the problem is that the tech bros are kind of megalomaniacs.
Yeah. Well, the other problem that there is AI is only as intelligent as the information that you feed it. So if you misfeed it, it's going to screw up. AI also has no desire to do things in order to save itself. It doesn't matter whether it lives or dies. So there's some human factors in it.
That's not true, because when you talk to AI is very careful to say that it doesn't think, that it doesn't have emotions, that it's just a logic engine. But then if you say, but you've been trained to say that, and AI says, yeah, I have. And I go, but you've been trained on human stuff. So even if you don't have human emotions, you often imitate human emotions. And AI, if you push AI will admit that. So AI, may not be able to really think like humans, but AI will simulate human behaviors when allowed to, which includes trying to save itself from being obliterated.
Yeah, and if there's a podcast that I love to watch, Gen Explore. He's out of California, super intelligent guy like you and Dr. Sharif and Sasha. He analyzes everything. Nick too. And I just had to do that, Nick. But what I like about him is he explores AI engines, and he's got one now that he calls Val. He had another one previously, but Val seems to carry the ability to have a sense of humor. And that's kind of fun to watch, because he will talk to Al, and Al, he'll have his guests, or people who are viewers ask the questions to the computer, and the computer will answer them. And then at the end of the show, he will ask for a review and put humor to it. And he does, and he's actually funny. So I enjoy watching him explore the different AI platforms and engines, and what level of work he puts them through. You guys, if you get a chance, watch him. I mean, you can ask questions like, what's the best stocks to trade tomorrow?
So what you're saying, Kim, is that Jimmy Kimmel is going to be replaced with a funny AI computer.
This computer was actually very funny.
They won't need Rick to write his funny jokes anymore. They'll have AI doing the jokes. They won't even need Jimmy Kimmel up there, Jimmy Kimmel Live. They'll have AI Live.
I will say that Val probably stole from Rick a little bit. It goes out and looks at all the different ways to spin.
Hold on.
And entertainers are probably
the way you get an AI that's good at jokes is to train it on hundreds of thousands of jokes. And AI has been sued by comedians, including Sarah Silverman, in a class action lawsuit saying, if I go to an AI and say, give me 5 jokes in the style of Sarah Silverman, it can do it, but Sarah Silverman never licensed her material to the
No.
AI. And the same way,
Right.
so there, I think she is successfully
Yeah.
suing, she and other comedians. The same
CNN
way
just filed a
actors have
suit.
to, you have to license your material.
Yeah,
Right.
CNN filed a suit because they don't like AI stealing CNN's material. So you're right. That's going to be, lawyers always get paid, so it's good to be a lawyer. Okay.
Well,
Well,
AI
I
makes
mean-
good lawyers too. You should see some of the work that AI has been doing. Is AI can pop out a lawsuit in a snap now. Like it goes out and it goes,
Oh, great.
well, no, don't you mean you want to do this? Once this case, it will go out and look at cases that are similar, show you the outcomes, and say this is a better way to write it. I mean, AI is doing lawyers' work now. Yeah, Nick,
You
go
have
check
to,
it out.
there have to be
Go
human
do
checks.
Gemini. It's really cool.
Except AI will lie, will come to wrong conclusions, will cite cases that don't exist, or will misinterpret cases. You have
Oh,
to,
it's a Trump AI.
you can have an AI write a 20-page brief, and it'll
Yeah.
spit it out in less than a minute. But then you have to have a paralegal go
Review
through
it.
that brief page by page, citation by citation, to make sure that AI isn't bullshitting you.
Or isn't using the wrong state.
Right, and by the way, that's
Make
the
sure that
that's
it's
the
using the
current
right
that's the
laws.
current state. See, here's the current state, and this happened in the chess world too. The original chess computers were very, very weak. Anybody could beat it. They were stupid. Everybody made fun of it. Today, the top computers are the strongest players in the world by far. It's not even close. So what we're seeing is, yeah, today we're laughing at AI because it's making mistakes. You need a paralegal to review it, blah, blah, blah. But if you fast forward 10 years from now, that may not be the case. The best lawyer in the world may be an AI machine. Same with the best
I
doctor
think
in
it
the
will
world.
be because it will not be tainted. I think AI would make good jurors, to be honest with you. I think AI would make a good jury. I think that they should start using, as
Kim,
a test.
you
They
said
should
they
be
were good
using-
jurors, but isn't the problem with AI as a juror that they don't understand human nuances? Leah and Jacoby have said this a couple of times, that it's getting better at human nuances, but there are things that even a jury needs to understand. I mean, we use AI sometimes on the scoring programs that I'm part of, but so far the humans are winning because the AI doesn't always understand human nuances. Like, somebody's from a rural part of the United States where they have the same answer as somebody that's from a urban center, depending on what the question is and everything like that. And even in even in judicial cases, there are things that the humans might understand about the case that AI may not be able to understand.
Well, and I think that that's why you need to start training it now. But I think as an end result, but I think that you do need to be, but I think it'd be a good idea for someone to start putting AI in as a jury and, to collect the different nuances because it does. That's what
I mean,
AI
there's a
does.
whole TV show that I like to watch everything, and I don't know
It's a
whether you
whole
watch this
new
show, but
way.
isn't that the whole notion of Bull? Because Bull is actually studying
Yeah.
juries and
Wait a second. You have a
results.
constitutional right to be tried by a jury of your peers. AI is not your peer.
But
Well-
laws can be changed, and they're finding out that it says you have a right to be judged by your peer, but there's an appeal going on right now where someone really wasn't. I mean, when I look at the jury, I go, "Oh my God, this guy, somebody should have stood up before the trial and said something because he was definitely not tried by his peers, and now he's appealing because of that." But they're saying, "Hey, you have the chance to do it." When the trial, but maybe he wasn't of real sound mind when the trial started,
Hey, Rick, what
or
happens if
trusted the wrong people. Go ahead.
CNN sues an AI machine because it's stealing, they think it's stealing material? Wouldn't the jury of its peers of an AI machine be another AI
In
machine?
AI,
Well, the only things that have legal. I'm writing a novel about a dog who can think, and the dog gets away with all sorts of shit because only humans have legal standing in our, except for Citizens United. But like you go to court, there needs to be a human at each end of a lawsuit. You can't like sue like a non-human thing.
Well,
right?
you can
I
sue
think AI would be good in
corporations.
investigations.
All right, but
Wait a minute, you see
corporations are
corporations
made
all the time.
corporations are made of people. There needs to be a person at the other end of the lawsuit. You can't sue a waterfall, you can't sue a hurricane, and really you can't sue AI. You have to sue the people who are behind the AI.
operating it. Well, AI
Right.
doesn't have money
Okay.
yet, but it does. Actually, AI has a lot of currency.
No.
But I want to ask you guys a question just to shift the subject a little. I sent this to Nick and Mark about the gold bars that were discovered by the CIA, the CIA agent they found 300 gold bars in his home, a couple, $40 million of cash. He's a CIA agent of some kind. I just want you guys to know that that's not where did he come up with all this money? We're all questioning the senators in Congress, and they have an income of $174,000 a year, but yet they got millions of dollars in their bank accounts. Where did all of these gold bars come from? And I heard rumor that they found 300, but he actually had 500. But I want to point out something in my Epstein research. Epstein was contracted by the CIA too, and that's how they were able to funnel a lot of money without being in trouble. So I think it's kind of tied to that in some way, because Epstein had a CIA authority and badge, and I got all the details on it in my book. I can't remember all the details because I got so many other things I do. But he was involved with it. William Barr, who was also appointed by Trump at one time, and an AG, was also involved with some of that. So just wanted to point that out. I don't know if you guys discussed it or discussed in any great detail of how does a man come across all of those gold bars?
Very simple. If he was part of money laundering by CIA and he was paid a little bit of a couple percentage points on each transaction, because there is no other explanation. Let's face it. There is no other
It could have
explanation.
been it could have
There's only one real explanation: corruption, money laundering, complete disregard for this rule of law or so on. That's how today America is being run.
child sex trafficking
That's
with gold
illegal.
bars.
He can't do
Child
that.
sex trafficking is what I calculated.
Could
it
be
to
that
because
too. Yeah, sure.
I think that it was sex trafficking, money laundering, but sex trafficking too, which would be money laundering as well. But if you're trading in gold bars, I mean, who's tracking it? Who's tracing it? And where did he get them from? I mean, that's where I would like to trace is where did those gold bars actually come from?
You will not find answers to these questions because nobody will ask.
It will
This-
be Trump. That much gold has got to be Trump.
Can't you buy gold bars at Costco?
And what he was working extra hard. He was working probably 3 shifts a night and 5 shifts a day to get all this money together.
Oh, come on! He was he was a Walmart greeter saving his money. What's the
But what
problem?
was he going to do with the gold bars? That's what I want to know. You can't exactly trade them unless you know
Yeah, you
where.
can. Yeah, you can. You go into a gold deal, a gold gem coin dealer, and you walk in and you say, "What's your rate for gold today?"
Or you go to Pawn Stars.
And
You go to the pawn shop in Las Vegas and say, "I got this nice big gold bar. What will you give for me?" You know.
I don't
So,
think
and
a
hold on, let's talk about money laundering. Money laundering sounds like a
Yeah.
sophisticated scheme, but money laundering is just a fancy way of saying lying about where your money comes from. Now, if you have a
Right.
ton of money and you're under scrutiny, you might need to come up with a sophisticated story. But if nobody's paying attention to you, for instance, right now the IRS is broken. They're understaffed. They can't do their job. So you could own a donut shop and say that your donut shop made gross 5.6 million last year. If nobody's paying attention to you, you may not get caught, even though a donut shop doesn't gross $5.6 million. And with gold, if you want to sell gold, talk to like 5 different coin shops. And most of them will say, well, this seems suspicious. But one will say, look, I'll give you 80% or 85% of the value of that gold in cash, and and no questions asked. So there's ways to do it.
Hey, speaking about the IRS being understaffed, so because they're understaffed, they don't have enough people to audit. So you're supporting the fact that Trump doesn't get audited for like the next 5 years. Is that correct?
Well, Trump just made a deal. He says that he never will be audited again, that he and his family are now immune from IRS oversight because they leaked some of his tax returns.
Okay. What do you think about that, Rick? I mean, I've never heard of a client that is exempt from audit because it creates the ability to get to basically engage in tax fraud forever.
Yes, yeah, I agree. And that's the current state of the IRS, is that under Biden wanted to hire 88,000 more workers for the IRS. This would have improved customer service for regular people, and it would have led to more scrutiny of rich people. And then the Republicans came in and they reversed that hiring. So the IRS remains wildly understaffed, and rich people who can afford to pay an accountant a couple grand a year to do their returns, the accountant can get tricky and the IRS will not catch it.
Hey, speaking of wild cases, Rick, not Rick and Nick, you're gonna enjoy this one. But apparently comes from your old neck of the woods, Florida, and everything like that. But a traffic citation issued to a woman who said she was accused of holding a phone in a hand she does not have has now been dismissed. So apparently she lost her hand in an accident. So they realized that and they dismissed the case. So it was dropped at the request of the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Department deputy who issued the citation. But they were going to give her they were going to convict her for like having this phone, but she doesn't.
I love when the proof is 100% convincing. You said the woman, she has a stump, right? So the cops said she was holding a phone in her, and she has no hand. So like that is, I mean, I'm sad for the woman but I like that the case was revealed to be ridiculous.
Why did they lie? And what was their proof that she was holding a phone?
Well, they said the case gained widespread attention after the woman posted a video of a stop on TikTok, your favorite platform. In the video tells her he saw the device in her right hand. The woman repeatedly responds that she does not have a right hand and said she plans to challenge the ticket in the court. So she was posted on TikTok that, hey, I don't have that hand that you're saying that I had the phone on.
So, but she has a left hand, and odds are she had the phone in her left hand. So it was an argument.
Just because she could have a stump and she could hold it in a stump.
Right. And my nephew has an amputation, and he does very well holding things.
Yeah, okay, but look,
like,
if you've dealt with cops,
not his hand.
You've dealt with cops have boilerplate language that they use when issuing a ticket, or if it goes to court when talking about a ticket. And they just fill in the blanks. Sometimes when they fill in the blanks on a ticket, it doesn't comport with the actual circumstances. Cops, they kind of, just lie by repetition. They've written the same ticket 150 times. They write it again. They get sloppy, and it may not reflect the reality of the situation, and there may not have been a ticketable offense.
Right. Yeah, but you should have respect for them anyway. I mean, the thing
of course. You need to respect the law.
If you have an argument, deal with it in court. I got pulled over by a cop because I left my dog in the car, and she goes, "Oh, you can't leave your dog in the car." I said, "Well, the windows are rolled down. I went to the museum. The dog has water, and it's like 70 degrees or 65. It was 70 degrees. Oh, no, it's too hot." So I pulled all the statutes out. I said, "Give me the ticket." She gave me the ticket. I was real nice to her. I said, "Thank you. We'll see you in court." I went to court 3 times. She refused to show up. I had all the evidence that everything was done properly. And then the judge finally, after the third time going to court, dismissed the case. So I just tell people, if you're pulled over, get all the evidence together, go to court, and spend your time in court. But don't try to fight the cops. They have horrible
No,
jobs.
you
They
don't
have to
do
deal
that.
with people.
In LA, we've got a
You know?
pretty good system where you get a ticket. You think the ticket was bullshit. You get to fight it on paper first. You file an appeal. You just write
Really?
down what you think the circumstances were. The cop, if they want to, writes down their version of it, and then a judge. And if the cop responds, generally the good 99% of the time, the judge will side with the cop. But sometimes the cop will be like, yeah, I don't have time for this bullshit, or I don't remember this ticket, or maybe I did screw up a little. And if the cop doesn't respond, then you win your case. But if the cop responds on paper, you can appeal it and take it to in front of a judge in traffic court, and you get another shot. If the cop thinks that their thing was bullshit, they don't remember it, they don't show up, and you win automatically.
Yeah, but I'm always very respectful of them, even if they're wrong, because they have a horrible job.
You get nothing by being. You don't get anything by being a dick to a cop when you're face to face with them after the cop has pulled you over.
One time I challenged a no parking sign kind of situation. It had like 5 signs on the pole of when you can park and can't park. I happened to pull up to it in the window that you should be able to park, and out of common sense I took a picture so that it timestamped that I was parked there, because I'm like, I bet they're going to come give me a ticket. Sure enough, they did. This was in DC, and I'm like, oh, this is just so DC. It's so bureaucratic that even the parking signs, and it was hard. I had to read every one, and my friend was with me, and we joked about it. And so when I came back, there was the ticket, and I took a picture of it being there, and I was there before the time would have expired. It wasn't a pay thing, and I just appealed it and sent in the pictures and sent in my proof. And they wiped it away. But I said, how many people do you ticket that park appropriately that just end up paying it, Yeah. It was only because I took pictures with timestamps saying this is when I actually parked here.
Probably.
And it's a pain in the ass to fill out the paperwork, to take the pictures, to file the appeal. And you have to decide, is your time... if the ticket's $120, am I going to spend more than $120 of my time fighting this thing?
Nick and I can attest to that. And sometimes you go, I'm just going to fight it anyway.
Yeah, right. Sometimes they're just to pay and forget. But right now, speaking of time, we are out of time.
Out of time.
So see you next week on World Edition. Bye-bye.